Hey guys, how's it going? Robert Warshak here, and we got some good news. This is looking pretty spicy. We got an upcoming balance change. Should be live currently right now. They actually released it last night, and comes out today, so it was very little lead time and when this was gonna come out live, and they've hit on quite a few things. Which is really good, and we'll get into it. So first things first, Blizzard is known for not changing cards or nerfing or buffing. They've actually never really buffed anything, but they're known for not really changing the meta or cards shortly after an expansion is released. They normally wait a while, see what's working, see what's not, and then they change something completely off topic and nothing relevant to what's actually the problem. This time, they decided to actually touch on stuff that I agree with 100%, every single card. It blows my mind that I did not expect this. So this is awesome. This is good stuff. I like it a lot. I like it a lot. So Wild Growth will cost 3 mana instead from 2, and then Nourish will cost 6 mana from 5. So when I looked at this, I was like, oh, well, Druid's dead, right? Like this is too much. It's not going to be good. 3 mana for one mana acceleration is not that great. If we look at Jade Blossom, it literally summoned a Jade along with accelerating us in mana. But if you think about it, when you're ramping, well, there's two reasons why this is good. I guess I'll do the first one because it's the easiest. In order for Blizzard to print any other Druid ramping cards like ever in the future, if for them to be better than Wild Growth or Nourish at their previous mana cost would be just crazy, right? I mean, you can't really get better than Wild Growth and Nourish for the mana cost. And if they were to print new cards and new expansions at like accelerated mana and they were better than that, that would be like, that'd be crazy, right? Druid can already hit 10 mana when you're at 5 or 6. So with just the current state. So that's one obvious change. You got to make them a little bit worse so we can print other cards that might be slightly better and cooler. Because the base set should always be the base set and then you improve on that. Not the base set is the best deck and every Druid deck is comprised of 50% of the cards in the base set. That's just not healthy. The next one is the fact that they're still not that bad. If you look at the cards and if you look at how you play them, you're still basically going to ramp the same way. So I'll try to explain this the best I can. So old Wild Growth, you could play Wild Growth on 2, and then your turn 4 was open for like an Oaken Summons or a 4-drop, right? So it accelerated your turn 2 play into your turn 4 play. Most of the time, turn 2 and turn 4 are pretty important turns and you don't want to miss them. Turn 2, you start to activate hero powers and play some decent sized minions. Turn 4 is where you play, some pretty medium sized minions. Violet Teacher, I don't know, is the one that pops into my head. But, there's a relatively large quantity of good 4-drop minions. So those are important turns, and Wild Growthing in to 2 to 4, and if you have coin, you can coin Nourish and then Wild Growth. I mean, that just the way it curves out is insane. But the way it curves out now with Wild Growth on 3, so it's just the way that they're spaced out now makes it a little bit more awkward to like weave in other cards, and it just doesn't fit as perfectly into like them going into UI or Ultimate Infestation as quickly as before. But if you look at like if the Druid does play a Wild Growth and then after that they do play a Nourish, they're going to be able to ramp just as quickly as if they were playing Wild Growth on 2 and Nourish on 5. If you know what I'm saying. Like, they're still going to get to 10 mana by accelerating 3 mana crystals. It is just, I guess, delayed a turn. But is it really delayed a turn? Because you're still ramping at the same speed. It's just when you play the card is 1 turn delayed. But you're still ramping 3 crystals before your opponent. You know what I mean? If you're getting 3 before your opponent, you're always getting 3 before your opponent, regardless of when you play it, as long as you're 3 ahead. So if the curve is the same, you're getting the same out of it, but they just can't. Okay, I've explained this. These are good changes. The cards aren't completely broken, and I'm satisfied with that. This is good stuff. We like this. Druid needs to be knocked down a couple notches. The next one, Level Up, will cost 6 mana instead of 5. This is another card that was kind of like, feels really bad. One thing is, turn 5 to an odd Paladin, by turn 5, they can have literally 7 Silverhand recruits on the board, and then from then on, the entirety of the game, you're sitting there killing these Silverhand recruits so they don't do, 15 plus damage burst to you in one turn with a 5 mana spell. So that also feels kind of bad. Also, as we know, Odd Paladin they can easily generate Silverhand recruits, right? So putting this into 6, they can't play it an Odd Paladin anymore. They can play it an Even Paladin where they don't have the ability to make as many Silverhand recruits, but it basically still costs the same. If you're paying 1 mana for 1 and 2 mana for 2, it costs the same, but they're just not summoning as many in one turn as they normally would. Plus we have like Vine Cleaver and Lost in the Jungle and stuff like that. So I agree, the level up change, the amount that it does versus the mana cost, I think 6 is fine. Plus Odd Paladin, I mean, if you gut one card by 1 mana from one deck and it ruins the deck, I mean, maybe the deck needs to be better well-rounded than that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it would be a shame. I mean, I don't really like Odd Paladin, but I'll deal with it. You know what I mean? Odd Paladin's fine. People play it. But if the deck literally just dies because it loses one card that went up 1 mana, granted they can't play it anymore, and they can't find like a decent replacement, like, you know what I mean? Like, should a deck really die because of that? Maybe a combo deck, yes, because a combo deck relies on one card. But Odd Paladin has, you know, a bunch of other cards. So we'll see. But this is a solid change. This next change is probably my favorite change, and I couldn't be happier with it. That's the Serenite Chain Gang change. And the change is very subtle. They didn't actually change what the card in itself does. It's still going to recreate a Serenite Chain Gang, but they tweaked the wording to now, instead of summon a copy of this minion, summon another Serenite Chain Gang. Which means now, all of you Shudder players, this doesn't work for you anymore. Thank fucking God. I hate that deck so much, and to see it die, I could not be happier. Like, they even said, like, Shudderwock breeds an interesting combo. There's nothing interesting about it. It's the most boring, ludicrous piece of shit combo ever brought to this game. And it's frustrating. Yes, it's frustrating. So now they want Shudder to be a powerful one-turn effect instead of like continuously playing them. So in Wild, obviously, there's Doppelgangster who can still bring out Shudders. But for the standard format, the format that, you know, most people play, Shudder, I believe, will die off here unless they come up with a new combo, but it'll probably be less efficient. If it's less efficient, I mean, the deck isn't as good. You know what I'm saying? So if the deck, you know, didn't really work out as well as it did a lot of the times, I wouldn't even be mad about it, right? It's just kind of annoying to play against, or some of them, they win sometimes. But the fact that, you know, 20 to 30% of you know, if I play this game every day and 25 to 30% of every one of my matches against Shudder Shaman, and all of my control decks that we play, because we love control, literally just lose to the deck, it becomes very frustrating for me. So this is an awesome change. Like, Serenite's still Serenite, still a good card, but it no longer works with Shudder Shaman. And then the last change, which is, I didn't really, like, if I were to guess changes that they would have made, I wouldn't have guessed this one at all, but it does make sense, and I do like it. Which is weird for me to say that I like every change Blizzard made, because normally they make like one change that I agree with, maybe two, kind of, and then the rest of them, it's like, you could have done this instead and it might have been slightly better. But these, all of them make sense. Kingsbane going from 2 mana to 1. So I was like, what the hell? What is going on here, big boy? I was like, they're making it better. How dare they? And then if you read it, it says give your weapon lifesteal. The 2 mana 1 is indefinitely, but now they changed it to 1 mana and they said give your weapon lifesteal this turn. So now it's just for the 1 turn, which is really, really, it's a big hit. Due to the fact that most of the time when you're playing Kingsbane Rogue, you'll find yourself, you know, attacking into your huge minions creatures. Like, you know, you could kill off mountain giants because you have, you know, lifesteal 8. So you take 8, heal 8, and you took no damage. You killed their, you know, mountain giant, and it still has 2, 3, 4 durability left on your weapon, depending on, you know, how many times you've buffed it. So with only being able to heal once with Rogue, and a Rogue having very little healing on its own, I mean, you can play Ziliax and stuff like that, but that's not, you know, that's not anywhere near the amount of healing as having Leeching Weapon on your weapon the entirety of the game. I mean, this is a huge hit. So I don't know what Kingsbane's gonna do to, like, you know, fix this, change this, deal with this change, but this is a pretty substantial change to the way the deck functions and how it survives into the late game, and it's very dependent on Leeching Poison. Like, if you're playing against aggressive base deck like a Hunter, and you're playing Kingsbane Rogue, you just lose now. There is no way you can, I don't think you can win, just because it was so important for a Kingsbane Rogue to draw Leeching Poison early on and just start being able to heal every turn. And without that ability, I mean, I don't see how they're going to do it. Maybe it's still good against control or like a anti-combo deck or anti-control deck. Not sure yet. We haven't played it. But as small of a change as this may seem, for those of you who either don't play Kingsbane Rogue or don't have a lot of experience with it, I think this is a pretty big change. So with all of these card changes in, combined, I think this meta is going to be pretty cool for a while, pretty wacky. And we're going to see, hopefully, new decks. Because currently the expansion hit, guys. And we didn't see... I don't think there was a single new deck. Like, yes, we saw Hakar Druid. But that was just in combination with Togwaggle. And it did exactly the same thing. They switched decks. But instead of killing you over like 2 turns because you just waited to concede because you have no cards, now it just kills you immediately. But it's the same deck. It's a Togwaggle deck. It's replacing your deck with Hakar. The OTK Paladin, the Holy Wrath, or Holy Smite, whatever the Paladin is that kills you in 1 turn. That deck has been around for a while. It just got timeout. Kingsbane Rogue has been around for a while. It just got, this cool new draw pirate cards. So like there hasn't been any new deck. It's just been decks that we've had that maybe weren't as good that just got slightly better. So maybe we'll see some new decks like mid-range pirate rogue. That would be like, in my sense, like a new deck, right? We haven't seen like a pirate rogue in either a really long time or kind of like ever. It was pirate warrior and maybe a pirate rogue a long time ago, but we haven't seen one in quite some time, so I would consider that new. But any deck that's been around that literally just changed like 2 to 4 cards, that's not a new deck. That's just a deck that got like a little like refurbished, however you want to call it. So hopefully with these changes we see new stuff. You know what I'm saying, guys? Yeah, this is good stuff. Really excited to stream today with these changes. Really excited to get here and start playing. So hopefully you've enjoyed. Let me know what you think of these changes in the comment section below, whether you agree, disagree. I love hearing what you guys have to say, especially with this change. These changes are big. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of fluctuation from both sides on, I liked my Druid the way it was. I didn't like my Druid the way it was. I like my Odd Paladin. I don't like the Odd Paladin, blah, blah, blah. And so I'm interested to hear, again, like your input on this. I'm actually very interested. So with that, thanks for watching, and I will catch you in the next episode, of course, or on stream. As always, guys, I'm Robert Warshak, and happy whatever the hell day it is.